Hi everyone, Diana Rankin here for the 38th week of 2019, and I apologize. Last week I said the wrong dates, but this week I checked them on the calendar. It's September 15th to the 21st. I was getting ahead of myself. Numbers are difficult for me at times. Well, welcome everybody. So glad you're here. We're going to get a message from Phillip in a little bit. This is an oracle book, and each page has a different wisdom on it. Excuse me. I want to also give you a little something from another one of my books. It's called Joy, the Art of Living a Happy Life. And we're going to need this. This has 52 processes, one per week. And let me just tell you one, I don't know that this is in the book. There is something on gratitude in the book here. But one of the things that I do is when I'm journaling, and I highly recommend journaling to everybody, but as a writer, certainly I'm going to journal. And one of the things I like to do, and people say, well, how do you get started? What do you journal about? One of the things you can do is simply go through the alphabet, A, B, C, D, etc. And every day have a letter, start with A, and you have to come up with something that starts with A that you're grateful for. And then you write it down. I'm grateful for. And, you know, it's amazing to me because I can come up with several things I'm grateful for under each letter. When we get to X, it's a little bit tougher, but you'd be surprised what you might come up with. So try that. Over this week, the energy is building, and it's like things are strange. They're just strange things. So I want to tell you, I think it's important that you recognize and keep in mind that what you put out is going to come back to you no matter what's going on in the world. And it's how we react to that. And by the way, we did ask Philip a question. One of the viewers asked a question, and we are going to read his answer. This one is on how do we wake up between 4 and 4:30 in the morning to speak with our spirit guide. And how does that work when we go to bed really late? How does that work when we're in different parts of the world? So we're going to get Philip's answer. It was really interesting to me. But I want to say how important it is that we stay in our own love and our own peace as much as possible. This isn't to say we ignore what's going on in the world. Someone on my Facebook account basically said I live in rainbows and unicorns and I can live there, but it's not in the real world. Well, my response to that is, let's get on our unicorns and ride them around the world and spread love in every color of the rainbow. And if we have to ask our uniforms to kick a little butt, that's cool. So go ahead. I love playing with people in a fun way, and hopefully we both can we both can learn a little bit, because unicorns, you're telling me that living in love is a fantasy land, and I'm telling you that living in love is real. It is very, very real. That's not to say we never feel depressed or anger. I get so angry at people who think it's okay to have assault rifles on the streets. That is something that I'm passionate about. And I get angry when I see other people abusing other people. That's something I'm passionate about. I get upset when I see us abusing animals or the planet as well as abusing humans. So yes, I can get upset, but I'm going to let my unicorn do the butt kicking while I'm riding around spreading a bunch of love. We need to stay there. That's the only way we're going to change this. I do want to say impeachment is coming close. And as it comes close, and as the gun issue comes close, and as this current administration in the U.S. pushes back environmental rules, there's going to be more clashing. But I think it feels like we're really, if we haven't already crossed the tipping point, we're very, very close to the tipping point. And more people are saying, wait, this isn't right. this isn't right. What this administration is doing to human beings, this isn't right. To have assault rifles on the street, this isn't right. Something has to be done. The NRA has to get out of politics. The money has to get out of politics. We've got to get back to a country of humanity. Anyway, watch out. I don't think, unless it's toward the end of the week, that anything's going to, other than this abnormal, normal craziness, I don't think anything big is going to break, but there's a possibility at the end of the week. A lot of information is going to start coming out. Most of it we've already heard one way or the other, so it won't be big news, but there are going to be a couple, at least 2, maybe 3 bombshells, things that are just, wow, I didn't know that. How did that come about? How did that happen? So stay tuned to the world, but take time to tune out. That's going to be very, very important, because the energy is going to get a bit rougher before it calms down. That said, I love having a spirit guide. And in my 3-day workshop, Awakening to Your Deeper Intuition, on the first night, what we do, we do different processes for different things, but one of the things we do is we connect with our spirit guide. And I always say, ask for the communicator. And the reason I say ask for the communicator is we all have multiple guides around us, which eventually you'll get to learn all of the guides. But it's like being in a room, and if 10 people or 12 people are talking to you at the same time, well, guess what? You're probably not going to be able to hear and get clear messages. And the purpose of having a spirit guide, one of the main purpose, is to get the clear messages. The other purpose, of course, you want a guardian angel and you want a healer, and etc., etc. But let's start with the communicator. Now, normally, and you've heard me say this, the communicator is going to wake you up about 4:30. So when you go to bed, you ask to meet with that communicator. And I have learned over the years, wherever I am in the world, and whatever time zone I'm on, if I need to talk to Phillip, my communicator, I will wake up at that hour. I've also learned in teaching the workshop that so many people will come and say, I really slept deeply last night, but I hardly slept at all. It seemed I didn't go to bed till 1 or 2 in the morning, and then I didn't think I'd wake up at 4, and I did. So the other thing I hear constantly is, how do I know? And I say, simply set up test. A test may be, well, first of all, we like names, so ask the person's name. The way I learned Philip's name is, Philip said he was the second name down in your name book. As a writer, I keep a name book on the bookshelf to tell me what the meaning of different names, and that's how I choose names for characters. And so Philip said the second name down. Well, that was Philip. Another one of the women who was in one of my workshops said that, she said, well, I got a name, but how will I know it's his name? And she got the name Henri, but he said, you will know me by Henry. And I said, well, stop for gas on the way home. She said, no, I don't need gas. About the 10th time I said it, one of the gentlemen in the workshop walked by and said, stop for gas on the way home. Well, she decided that where I lived, or where the workshop was being held, I would know all the gas station attendants around there. And she was going to go where she knew nobody was named Henry. So she lived about 90 minutes away. She went to that gas station, and when she's pumping gas, a man pulled in behind her, and she just started laughing when he got out of the car. And she had this infectious, wonderful laugh. And he just looked at her and she said, your name's Henry, isn't it? So ask for confirmation and then look for it. But if somebody tells you to stop for gas, especially if they're the person in charge of the workshop who's told you how to do this, you might want to stop for gas. So here was my question to Phillip. The question is that we believe the veil is thinnest between the worlds around 4 to 4:30 a.m. How does this work if someone usually goes to bed only a few hours before? And also, how does it work around the world where time is different? Phillip answers by saying, as you have experienced, it matters not the time one goes to bed or one's location on the planet. Let us explain it in terms the human brain can comprehend. Philip sometimes is a little kind of abrupt, and sometimes he's funny, and sometimes he lets me know he is well superior to my intellect. And I think this one probably was. Let us explain in terms the human brain can comprehend. It was still a little tough for me. Philip goes on to say, let us begin by saying time as humans understand it does not exist. Take as an example how you are able to stretch time when you must and also to shorten time. When you are enjoying your life, time is shorter than when in an anxious state. Time, as you have often explained to others, is a relative commodity used for communicating purposes. It is a tool. Understanding this helps us understand that the planet and the universe in which you live is not dependent upon time as you, as a human, understand it. The magnetic fields of multiple worlds and the different dimensions correspond to one another. Since everything is taking place at the present moment, then wherever you are in the time zone of the planet. Let me repeat that. I read it wrong. Since everything is taking place at the present moment, then wherever you are in the time zone of the present. We see we have confused you. Yes, a little. Think of it like this. A wave goes around the world. As that wave travels, it vibrates at different frequencies. The frequency around the time you mention, 4 to 4:30 a.m. in the morning, is when the frequency is most available to the human mind. Thus, the veils between the world are most easily accessible. Does this clarify for you? And then I said, yes, thank you, Philip. This is most helpful. And then Philip says, then we shall leave you to contemplate it. And I say, yes. And here's what I was visualizing. What I'm visualizing is the earth surrounded in a field of energy that is in constant motion as it moves around the earth, and the earth moves within it. Philip answers, very good. I say, I got it with a question mark, and he says, on a most basic level, yes. And so I thank you, Philip. I'm laughing. We are so grateful for your help. And Philip says, and this is important, friends, as we are for all of you who care to listen. So Philip is telling all of us, let's listen. Let's recognize that everything we're doing in the name of love, everything we're doing that is loving, down to a simple smile, down to taking our anger and turning it into a force of love rather than staying in the anger. Everything we do like that is helping our world. And right now, we need it because there is so much fear in the world. There is so much anger. And remember, the pendulum always swings wide before it settles down. So instead of getting angry at that person who makes a rather ignorant statement, let's look at them and push back, but push back with strength in kindness. We don't have to say, listen, you're stupid. We can say that remark is ignorant, but not that you're ignorant. There's a big difference between that. Push back with love. Push back with the strength that love gives us. Let's get a message. Think left page, right page. And by the way, thank you all for your comments. I do read them. I respond as quickly as I can, which is not always that quick. But do send me your questions that you would like Philip to address. I ask you to keep them more general because we can't really have a discussion. You can in the comments, but I might try to do a live feed on Facebook one of these days. It's not going to happen in the immediate future just because I don't have the time. If you do want a private consultation, please look below for my contact number. So, and I do have a newsletter, by the way, that is free. I just, don't get me wrong, I need to get the word out and I need to make a living, but I want all of you to have this information. So, okay, think left page, right page. And then we just open. I'm hearing left page, but I'm going to, I always read both pages to give you, but our message is, okay, important one, friends. Your body and your mind are nourished by that which you feed them. I'm going to repeat that because this is really important. Your body and your mind are nourished by that which you feed them. If we are constantly feeding our bodies and our mind anger, we're not nourishing ourselves. We're not finding joy in our lives. We have to feed ourselves love. That's where it starts. So remember, your body and your mind are nourished by that which you feed them. So feed your body love in the form of food that's healthy for you. And sometimes I'm bad about that. Most of the times I'm pretty good. And on the right, it says, you are the only one responsible for you. You are the only one responsible for you. So stop giving your power away. Stand in it proudly because you are needed in this world. You are a special human being. And I know right now many of you are going through trials and it's a difficult, difficult time. But we're going to get through this together. We're holding each other's hands. And by the way, you know who is over there sleeping on her orthopedic bed. She's getting up there in age and she needs to rest a lot, but she's doing great. She's mostly border collie, probably a little lab by her personality mixed in there. Who knows? She's a rescue. But those border collies, they're puppies till the end. And so she still loves to get out and run, as well as sleep a lot. So my friends, from Daisy, all the kitties, and from me, we love you. Please spread love in your life and let it go out to the world. Thank you for listening, for coming today, and thank you for loving us, and thank you for accepting the love we send to you.